Hello. So I got the cleanup done on the Mark-44. I want to add some cast texture to it, and then we might work on starting the YF-21. So for the cast texture, as usual, we're using Mr. Surfacer 500 and stippling it on with a square brush. And you just keep keep repeating the stippling until it starts to stick and peak. Let me do something here. Hey, Alex. And later on, I might hop on the Xbox and stream some Heart of Chernobyl. I've been playing that the past few days. But that would be Twitch side only, as I don't have the Xbox set up to dual stream on YouTube and Twitch. So it doesn't show up too well on the camera. Oh, there we go. That roughness is kind of the texture you want when you do this, though. Lately I've also been tinkering on my 16th scale Stug 4, adding more details to that. Still have a lot of Zimmerit and stuff to do on it. And I've got a spare Panzer III chassis. I might scratch build a Stug 3F. Yeah, sorry I wasn't on Friday. A lot of other stuff going on that day. I just couldn't get into a streaming mindset. A lot of adulting and real world stuff to do. I will be off Thursday and Friday this coming week, or this week. Typically on Thanksgiving Day I do a stream and take breaks every 20 to 25 minutes to go baste the turkey. We'll see how well that works out this year. And you also have to remember to periodically clean your brush as it clogs, because that can start leaving clumps and chunks that don't look natural to the cast texture. part, it might show up a bit better on camera. There you go. And you want to keep it kind of subtle. It'll pop more with paint. What's everybody else been up to these days? Hope everyone had a nice weekend. I had to work. Time to rinse out the brush. And it doesn't have to be immaculately clean. Just got to get the buildup out. One of the other things I did last week was I managed to get a decent ultrasonic cleaner. I ran my airbrush through it, got a lot of gunk out, and I also lubed up the piston on the compressor a little bit, get a bit better flow rate out of that. Still working on my mixes with Vallejo paints, but we're getting there. So painting should be a bit smoother next time we go to do it. No pun intended. You'll know when it feels right when you feel resistance when you go to pull the brush off of the surfacer. It'll kind of stick a little bit, and that's when you know you're getting the right kind of peaking for the cast texture. We use the Mr. Surfacer because it's essentially a diluted putty lacquer base, so it dries relatively quick. And it bites into the plastic a little bit too. I don't know how well any of that's showing up. There we go. Now this one's going to be fun because a lot of these pieces have to be glued in as they are. They're not separate. But we'll make it work. Sorry if I'm making a lot of weird noises, more than normal. Woke up this morning and my spine was on fire. We have another storm front coming in. So, haven't been the most comfortable the past few days either. Yeah, I'm thinking of going with this one. I like the idea of the white face mask like that. And then you've got the light olive green with the darker splotching over it. You might be able to do some fancy brush work to make that work differently, instead of always airbrushing. And then the yellow panel accents. Might stipple that a bit more with a cleaner brush. If you're on the Twitch side, you can throw up some links to anything you might have been working on, if you like. Shake up the surfacer as well. I hope so. It's going to be a rather plain scene. To spice it up, I'm probably going to use... I don't know if you guys have seen anything from that game, The Forever Winter. But I want to use the lair that you have, the innards, as an inspiration for like a backdrop scene. I've got some old LED candles with a flicker circuit that I want to put into... Hey, Solway! Welcome, welcome. How are things going there? But I want to make something that looks like a fluorescent bulb. Basically some clear styrene rod with a blue-white LED at the end, but attach that to the flicker circuit from the candle so it's like the fluorescence kind of not working right, and have that in like the wall above it mounted. Maybe put some other tricks in it too. But yeah, the innards is like your little home base in the game, but it's got a very Maschinen Kreiger aesthetic. So I want to make it like a backdrop for the base for this that looks like that, feels like it. Oh, Solway, since you're here. Stug 4. I know that's why I invited you here, to get you some form of contact with somebody. It seemed like you're going a little stir crazy, to be honest. I know your vacation's not going exactly as planned, which sucks. It's gonna be a while still. I have to do the lower hull Zimmerit, finish up some here, some on the other side. It'll be another couple weeks if I can get, or keep the motivation to work on it. I've got the spare track mounted, the spare road wheel container, some of the fender issues worked out for the holes since it's converted from a Panzer IV. And then once it's further along, I want to start mocking up the superstructure for a Stug 3F. Please don't. Please don't get it. How are you managing food? Thanks, Alex. If I'm talking to Alex Solway, it's because he's on the YouTube side of things. Okay, so the food situation's alright without having to cross-contaminate each other. What sucks is it's right as the winter's hitting there, so opening windows isn't exactly an easy thing either. So separate kitchens so you can all fend for yourselves, kind of. Oh, at least you got the cats. No, that picture I sent you the other night of Frankie looking particularly evil is when I died playing Stalker to a bloodsucker after putting 2 mags of AK ammo into it, and it still didn't die. They really screwed up the mutant health balance on the game. So he was showing his disappointment at me, because he's seen me beat bloodsuckers on the other 3 games from 2007 to 2009 with no problem. Typically 30 rounds from an AK took one out. especially if you're aiming in the head shoulder area. Hey Aries, how you doing? I don't have it on PC though, I've got it on Xbox. Because it's free on the Game Pass, and I wanted to see if it was a worthy successor or a cheap cash grab before I decided to buy it. I probably will pay outright for it this coming month or two. Went from being a $20-some-odd indie game to a $60 behemoth. Well, I'll let Aries tell you about his encounter with Texas wildlife last night. What's funny is they do have scorpions in Virginia. They're just smaller bark scorpions. And they're not as abundant as they are in Texas or Arizona or Utah. I used to hate finding them in Florida because you'd always find them in the bottom of the pool. And they're not always dead down there. So you go swimming, you're walking down the steps, you see a scorpion, all of a sudden it starts moving. But he made it through the night, so it seems there's no adverse effects. Well, considering scorpions sting you, slugs just feel like stepping on snot. And when you have cats, you have to wonder if it's a slug or if your cat had a moment. I've also been working on a 16th scale M109 Paladin for a customer as well. Painted it up in a nice 1970s Murdic scheme, the winter version with the green and the brown, which seemed to be the most common standard camo they left the vehicles in. So Alex says he has the Tamiya Leopard with a shitload of time trying to make the A5 model. Now the Danes have the A7V. Never gonna win. Well, you can still make it the Danish A5 model and then get another one by Hanglong to do the A7V. Or Tongde makes a out-of-the-box Leopard 2A7. So you could get that and then convert the smaller stuff that you need to match the A7V. You can get that through DKLMRC. I'd post a link, but links don't work for YouTube chat. So if you're looking for an out-of-the-box 2A7, yeah, Tongde on DKLM. And their shipping's pretty decent. Toucan Hobby might carry it too. My face. the brush again. But the Stalker series is definitely one of those games that grows on you the more you play it. Once you get used to how things work, and you figure out the ins and outs, and you're able to concentrate on the story. So you're going to the slag heap in the garbage now? Right? I'd like to get it, but I want to get the Centurion so I can do an Israeli one. There's a couple glitchy missions there, so watch out. You may have to save and restart the game when the glitches happen. And there's one mission where the bandits supposedly have someone that you need to talk to. But you have to go down into a pit to talk to them. Turns out they're dead, and you're trapped down there. No worries, Alex. Yeah, I wish I'd known that, but the Leopard 2A7 I made isn't the in-service one, so the A7 model that's out there wouldn't have worked. I had to convert one. Do I need to send you the parts for a Sherman? I think I got a lower... I think I've got a hull and some other bits sitting around. And some gearboxes. Just no electronics. Going back over some areas that didn't get stipply enough for me. That's why I don't worry about the stupid little sub-variants of, oh, this one had a cast hatch, this one had a stamped steel hatch, or anything like that. I just go, okay, I've got an M32, I have a standard 105 HVSS, and I've got a 76W based on the vertical volute spring suspension chassis. You know, so I've got examples of all the basics when it comes to... Don't care. When it comes to the minute stuff between, oh, this one was made in April and this one was made in June by Fred, who was, you know, drunk on that Friday. Just like if I really wanted to, I could go down the Stug rabbit hole. Because each sub-variant of that is uniquely different. But instead, I'll just go for a Stug F. Because I have a spare Stug 3 gun barrel and mantlet from a metal Matto hull that was destroyed. Or I shouldn't say destroyed, but it was damaged in shipment to my client. So I'm going to use that and scratch build the superstructure. All on a standard Panzer III chassis. Should work out okay. Does the Danish version have the standard Leopard 2 front, or does it have the Leopard 2 EX front, where it's got all the flat panels and the wedge-shaped fenders and the rectangular headlights? Because if that's what you need, you can download files to do the conversion on Cults 3D if you have a 3D printer. Okay, now we're getting the rough, stipply effect that I like. I know the Swedish Leopards have the EX style front end. I don't remember if the Danish ones do or not. So are you doing the 2-week? Obviously the Tamiya you have to build more, and I think they've got more fine-tuned electronics. Obviously the Tamiya one's a kit. The Tongde one, believe it or not, actually has better suspension and road wheels, because they actually have rubber rim tires, where I think the Tamiya Centurion was just molded plastic. The Tamiya cut a lot of corners on the Centurion, unfortunately. Tamiya also did the Mark III, if I remember right, which was only used for a certain amount of time, where Tongde does the Mark V, which is the Australian, Korean War version that you could make, Israeli, all the more modern stuff. You know, you can bring the Tongde one up to a more modern standard than the Tamiya one. The Tamiya one's very locked where you can put it. And I think the Tamiya one's, or not the Tamiya, the Tongde one, given its price, is a better canvas for doing more detailing and more unique stuff that you might want. You know, you won't feel as bad doing stuff to a $150, $200 tank than you would a $6,000 to $1,000 Tamiya. Plus, Tongde comes with its own RC gear, so you don't have to buy anything extra. Should come with a battery. Again, no extra that you have to buy. You can order. I would at least order the version that comes with the metal tracks and metal road wheels, because those also come with the metal gearboxes. Tamiya, I think, still has nylon gearboxes in it, and it's got the plastic track. I'd have to look at the tanks to really tell the differences, Alex. Yeah, and the Tamiya is 5 times more expensive, but as noted, it's limited by the mark that it is. Like, yeah, you could convert it if you want to spend the time doing that. Whereas the Tongde is a Mark V right out of the box, which was used more extensively than the Mark III. And a lot of the Mark IIIs are upgraded to a 5 standard anyway. I think there's only 1 or 2 left in the world. And one of them's at Duxford in back home, you know. If I got a Tongde one, I would do either an IDF one with all the explosive armor on it, or I would do the actually I think it's in a museum now, the nuclear testing one that actually went on to serve in Vietnam. From what I remember, they had a Centurion that was... basically, they dropped a nuke on it. It was part of the testing. It survived, mostly unscathed. They decontaminated it, refitted it, and sent it back into service. That stiffen up a bit. I'll rinse out the brush and do the lower leg on this one. Then by that time the upper leg should be ready. And if I've missed any follows or anything like that, I'm sorry. I do appreciate all the newer subscribers on the YouTube side of things too. We've gone up 4 more in the past week. I haven't heard anything bad out of the Tongde ones. I've got the Tongde M60 with the Rise armor, which is one of their first ones off the factory, so you can tell they're learning a lot. I've also got their M109. Like I said, I'm doing one for a customer, and I've got one myself that I'm going to make the Israeli version as well, just because it's got a lot more crap on it. It looks cooler to me. Let me know if I need to turn the music down. It sounds like it got a little louder on its own side. Like the recording volume is a bit much. I was thinking of doing that to my Leopard 2A7EX, Alex, the Barracuda netting with the thermal blanket. You can buy the netting in scale, so all you'd need to do is figure out a way to simulate the thermal blanket underneath it. And I think Tongday's the only one with a Churchill, which is another tank I'd like to get, limited as it was. And then another company does a Stuart in 1/16th RC. That's on Amazon for like 130 or 40 bucks. I'm keeping my eye on it to see if the price goes down a little bit before Christmas. Yeah, I saw that too. From what I've seen, though, for as cheap and plastic as they are, they're really not terrible. I don't know if they're based on the special hobby kit molds or whatever, Amusing Hobby or whatever company came out with the 1/16 Stuart a few years back. If they are, I hope somebody gets in touch with Takom and does something for the Weasel. The RC shop here might have some M3, M4 size ones that would work. I'd have to have one in hand first. Yeah, I wanted to pull the trigger on one as well, but then all the inflation and everything caught up with us this year, so we've just been reorganizing things a bit. Hopefully things next year get a bit nicer. We'll see. Oh, it is here too. I was able to get 91 for the Camaro for under $2 a gallon. I really don't like running the low grade in it because of the higher compression it's got now. It pings like a mofo. And I'm still working on the timing. I might have to take drastic measures and advance the distributor itself forward a gear tooth and then retard the timing more back. Because right now it's so... the vacuum advance on the distributor base hits the intake manifold. So I can't advance it enough to do what I want it to do. All Andy's hobby headquarters models are Takom kits that are rebranded with his name on it. He's just got a very successful hobby shop down in Phoenix, Arizona. One of the few instances of somebody putting himself out there and really marketing it, and it paying off. I'm still surprised that with all the the trumpeter and the Das Werk 16th scale Stug 3Gs out there, that there are no fenders that I can find. I know they exist, because I want to get some for the Stug 3F. But yeah, there's no photo etch fenders out there to replace all the ones with holes in them for the hang long stuff. Or if you wanted to do something a bit cleaner. But yeah, the Andes kits are just the Tacom kits with his branding on it. One kit I might get, if I can find it cheap enough, is the 16 scale M113 that just came out. Because somebody donated some junk tank stuff to me a couple weeks back, and in it was an old... it was called a Caterpillar control box. But basically an old 2-motor electronic speed control that you could hook up to control dual drive vehicles. And I've got the gearbox for it, so if I can get an M113, we'd be in like Flynn. Okay. Now, what do I base the interior on this in? I don't want to do it white. I'm thinking RLM2. It's a good gray-green color, similar to the plastic color that's already there. Yeah. I want something that I can... the exterior I'm doing in a more olive color. I'm doing this one. So it'll be the olive with the darker, with the white and the yellow. I just don't want the interior clashing too much, and the RLM2 seems like it would fit very well. The exterior, I actually might base in this color. What, the seafoam green? Nope. That and I'm out of it. There we go. That's mostly cleaned out. Yeah, the exterior I'm probably going to be using this. I think that'll work right. The tan primer. Okay. So I think these two for the exterior colors, zinc chromate and the tan primer, because these are always a bit muted. If you look at how the white is, it's not true. So we'll lay down the yellow first, and then yeah, yellow. And where's my RLM2? I've got that in Tamiya. Where did it go? I think that's it. Yep. Okay. I figure I can lay down the base color on the interior, and while that's drying and setting up, I can start work on the YF-21. Yeah, macross. Unfortunately, the only 48 scale frog foot that I know of that Edward used is the old KP Models one, or Corpro. Not a great kit. I built it. Edward used those molds. They may have cleaned things up. Just added a ton of photo etch and resin to it, and called it good. It's not a terrible kit. It fits okay, but the detailing is light, to be honest about it. This paint's been sitting a while. It needs a good shake. Hopefully the spraying problems we had last time don't come back to haunt us. I managed to paint the M109. It came out well. And didn't have too many troubles there once I got the paint mixes right. Okay. What's very funny though is back in 91, 92, I think it was 91, late 91, Monogram released an SU-25 kit without exactly having access to a real one. They just had it based on pictures and everything. And it is surprisingly correct given the information we had at the time. I almost wanted to make something out of Aves for right here, and for the arms it's like a pressure cuff. I decided against it though, because it would look like I'm sculpting anuses. I can still paint that kind of detail in if I want to. Sitting up with my foot up too long. Now it's gone numb. Get that out of the way. I just hope with these... I hope the YF-19 Batroid kit is successful enough that Hasegawa considers making a YF-21 as well. It'd be neat to have that. Same with the SV-51, even though it's very fragile, it would be nice to have one to go with the fighter mode. So I'm going to get the 21's parts out shortly. I want to let the RLM gray set up before I start painting on that. And I want to let the cast texture set up a little more. It's still a bit gummy because of how thick it is. Then I'll have to think on the pilot's little paint scheme as well for the flight suit. Can't really call it a flight suit, can we? It's just their crew suit. I thought the Danish army used the YPR. It's based on the M113 chassis, but it's a slightly different vehicle. I could be wrong though. I usually am. Okay. All right. Not a lot of parts to this kit. And I almost want to get a second one, because one thing I noticed when I was going through it is, who's seen Macross Plus, the original animated series this is from? In the final episode, the pilot of this takes the Valkyrie up against a AI-piloted drone fighter. So the drone has the advantage of no body, so it can pull extremely insane Gs. Well, the pilot essentially turns off his G limiter and jettisons all unnecessary parts of the airframe, which would include like this belly plate, the arms, things like that, just everything the airframe doesn't need. So it's just engines, wings, and the main fuselage. It's got the details underneath for what was under there, even though that gets completely covered up. I almost want to buy a second one and do the jettison version. And why is my camera locked up? One moment, guys. Something's going on here. Can you hear me? Okay. Are you seeing any movement on my camera? My face is moving, but my desk camera is not. You should be seeing a ton of blue plastic. Okay. One moment. There we go. Fixed. Anyway, what I was saying is they've got details on here which, when he did the jettison, you could see all those parts. Like I said, I almost want to do a second one with all the jettisoned parts off of it and just the stripped down airframe. But for Hasegawa, it's pretty nice. not much you can do with a fictional aircraft, which, like an actual stealth aircraft, has a lot of hidden panel lines and rivet detail. Now here's the real question. Do we do it gear down or gear up? I'm thinking gear up on a stand. Because I'm also working on a VF-1 that's gear up. I saw your the chat was still working, so I saw what you said about the price of the Stewart, but I was more intent on fixing the camera issue. Yeah. No, I still don't have the money for it, but if it's still that cheap in coming weeks, I might jump on it. Okay. So that can wait till last, because that's one solid clear piece. I don't want to even screw with that until I'm ready to paint. We'll assemble the cockpit and get the gear doors in the lower nose. Okay. We'll start with the gear doors. I'm doing this one in flight. I know. And I know you had a lot of things right on the verge of happening, too. And then that happened. Well, there's... I know it's not a good thing happening, but there's also a positive side to it. You're getting more of a break. I mean, I know it's stressing you out, but you're getting more of a break. Yes, there is that. My concern is, what was the original vector for it? And what's to prevent it happening again? I'm glad you're okay and you haven't shown signs of anything. Oh. But you'd had no association with them before it happened, and when they found out you were outside the blast radius? Goes to lots of cons. Oh. Gotcha. So he brought home COVID along with the con bug. And then you, with your treatment that's got you suppressed, you can't risk it. So I totally get you there. Okay, those pieces can go in after painting as well. Alright. This is actually my second time trying this kit. I built it once back in the early 2000s. I tried a lot of things I wasn't too experienced with at the time, but I'm a bit more confident trying again. So I want to try some things on the fuselage where it's not so much color modulation, but I want to have a little more variety, because this is a pretty insanely boring blue color. in that it's just so intense it burns you out real quick. So I want to see if I can model it a little bit, and basically I'm going to prime it in a mid-tone gray, pre-shade it, and then go back with the blues, you know, just making it look more like a used aircraft. Because if you go back and look at some of the test flight footage, even from more modern aircraft like the F-35 during its program, they got pretty dirty. They kept them clean for the most part, but they were more interested in getting them tested and getting them done. And that's kind of what this was. It was a test aircraft in the series. Okay, so I need my nose gear door. A-27. Yep. D5 and 6. And there was a reboxing of this kit that gave you markings for Max and Miria's fighters from Macross 7. So imagine this fighter in Max's blue with more white markings, or red. Okay, so the first part of doing gear up, and it's something sometimes Hasegawa does okay with, is getting the gear doors lined up. This one goes over here. There you go. Because I know you've got your primary Warhammer project that you brought with you, right? You got some Tau stuff you're working on? Is that for somebody? And you could probably slam out that AFS suit. So there will be a little bit of filler that'll be necessary right here, because the gear door has a notch there.
She's dead. Pick her up, put her in the car.
How well do you fit right now? Pretty darn good.
She's dead.
That's not a lot to fill, though.
She's dead. Pick her up, put her in the car.
Okay. Got those flush. ought to look pretty good.
She's there.
Not worried too much about getting it all the way in. I want the glue to start gooing up the plastic a little bit, that way I can move it around.
She's there.
That way the glue kind of acts like a third hand. Because that just dropped right in there. Probably a little bit of sanding to knock the surfaces flush with each other. This will be the hardest one, because I'll have to massage it from the inside and the out. You notice I'm trying to keep my fingers inside when I glue. That way if I get any excess, it goes in a place that doesn't matter. Okay, a little bit of nubbiness there that's causing an issue. So I will be doing my best to try a Turkey Day stream. Like I said, years past I've always done one, and basically I do breaks every 20-25 minutes to go baste the turkey and attend to that. And we usually keep it simpler, something I can pick up and put down. Get that front end started, and then we can just get the rest to drop in place. There we go.
I know what you're thinking.
I didn't expect that to fit that well. The VF-1 sure as hell doesn't. Just that little nub right there to fill in. While I'm having this kind of luck, I'm going to do the lower fuselage too, if I can. Strike while the iron's hot, am I right?
I could think again.
D10 and D7, and they're actually one-piece doors. And this isn't the first macross model I've done in flight. I did the SV-51 Ivanov version flying. So the dark gray and charcoal one. Should have done it with the Nora version too, but I'd already built it with the gear down and the cockpit open. And I think you can look up the final fight with this airframe in it on YouTube. Look up Macross plus Gould, G-U-L-D, versus Sharon Apple or X9 Ghost. The movie version especially adds a lot more to it. Next music going. Making sure my camera didn't freeze up again. That was quite odd. That's not happened with this camera before. That hasn't happened in a while. So you think you might be back on by Friday, Soulwing? That's good. Well, let me know so I can pop in and hang out. I actually have Black Friday off for once. So I don't have to go out in public and subject myself to any of that. Can we repeat the magic? I think we can. Yeah. I thought the usual, I mean, I know you're probably taking extra precautions, but I think the usual decon time is a week now, as they're saying. Thanks, Alex. Alright. And I'm sure everybody's probably just going stir crazy anyway, too. There we go. Yeah, I have never had landing gear doors drop in like that. If I didn't already have the YF-19 and 48 scale finished, I'd get another one in 72nd scale to go with this. I mean, it's out there, but I'm not gonna buy it. Okay. Cockpit parts. K5. And 1. God, I can only imagine if Hasegawa did this in 48 skill to go with the 19. They haven't yet, but the way they've been crapping out macross kits this year, it makes me wonder if something might not be on the way that we're not seeing yet. I mean, they've done all the Zentradi battle pods, including the female ones, and the movie versions, including Max's version from the movie. They haven't done the officer's pod yet, but I think that's in work. There we go. Yeah, the reason I held off on doing this is in the instructions, the nose gear is part of the cockpit. So I want to get the doors in first. Okay, so you go here. Seat. Goes here. Probably did that backwards. That's all right. Easy enough fix. Then after Friday, my next day off won't be until Wednesday next week. So expect my next stream then, if not possibly earlier. But we've seen how that's worked out in the past. K7. So if everybody's back to normal by Wednesday or Thursday, what are your plans for Thanksgiving? Just a quiet one at home? Oh, good lord. So, A14. So you're going to be a bit busy that day. Just to make sure that everybody's on the up and up. Yeah, I honestly don't blame you. Let me make sure I can get the pilot in here after painting. He's in his Zen pose. Actually, with the canopy glued shut, you're not going to see a lot of them, so I might just put him in here, throw whatever colors I need on him, and paint around him. I think that would be best, because the canopy on this aircraft isn't like your standard, you know, big old bubble. It was meant to be flown with non-direct vision. You know, in the series, it's made to basically send the images right to your brain. So the windows are on there just for emergency's sake. It's a lot like an X-15. So you've just got this little clear bubble in the top and then two panes on the side. So for this, I think we're going to go ahead with that. I'll fully assemble the cockpit, paint it the necessary bulk colors to be able to tell what's in there, and call it good. I'm not going to waste a lot of extra effort since it won't be open. Okay, 15. Like, they have me making a piece that goes onto the canopy. You won't see it. At least I don't think you will. I'm not even going to bother with it. But for those wondering, this is also how I do a lot of models so quickly. Other people obsess over the little stuff. I evaluate and say, you know, I'm not going to need it. I'm not going to build it. I'm not going to deal with it. This still fits okay. I actually think it mounts to the lower one first. It does. Glue that on there. Let me get the canopy real quick. I figured as much. I'm not going to order it right now, though. Maybe a delayed Christmas present. We'll see what I get in terms of, like, gift cards and stuff. Acquiring new RC tanks is not at the top of my menu right now. I've still got the M109 to finish for the customer, then I got my own to do, and then I also have the Stug 4 to finish, and the 3F, and Oddball Sherman if I can figure out how to fix the turret rotation issue. Yeah, you ain't seeing squat of that. So you'll have that window there, that, and that. Exactly, Alex. I'm not going to waste time and effort on something that's going to be essentially invisible. Alright. Put the canopy in a safe spot. And I'm sure if anyone comes and watches this live, the VOD basically on YouTube or something, they're gonna start convulsing as well. Okay, interior is dark gull gray. And I might have to take my mover on break here soon. I just noticed it's been well over an hour. So I am going to pause here actually, and we're going to do that. So be right back. And I'm back. Went and got a snack. We're gonna slather some dark gold gray on this. Let me have my snack first, though. Yeah, I saw that. They look pretty good. If any of you have been sitting for a while, I urge you to get up and move around too. The cat will get back up. All mine are upstairs in the windowsills. Yeah, Arnie's the only lap cat I have. Mittens will sometimes. Then Marbles just likes to be around. I might have to watch this movie. I've got it on DVD. I've got the full series on DVD, but this movie especially. And one of Bryan Cranston's earlier roles, uncredited, he was the voice of Isamu, the main protagonist of the series, you could call him. He went by a pseudonym when he did this. Yeah, I'm at the no-step decal stage of the VF-1 that I'm doing. And in 70-second scale, those are amazingly tiny. So I'm probably procrastinating doing them. That's why it's not done yet. It's also amazing how small the VF-1 is when you compare it to this. That's garbage. I know, I still have my mad scientist hair going on. Hopefully that won't be here after today. So last week, Avalanche Studios also announced that they are not working on add-ons or support for Generation Zero anymore. Part of me almost wants to print out a large tank or something and do it like all rusted and derelict as like a, you know, farewell. It's been a hell of a 5 years kind of thing. Probably painting more than I need to. Yeah, I can reach everything else I need to with a brush with this closed, so we can press on, get that closed up, then get working on the rest of the fuselage. Well, either that or like one of the dogs. Hi, Mitty. No, come here. Mimit, come here. Hey, buddy. You are so timid when it comes to lap time. Come on, up. Up, up. Come on. Come here. Up, up. Come on. Yeah, come on. He keeps meowing at me like he's making sure it's okay. Come on. There you go. Good boy. Come on, turn around. Yeah. Why are you so shy, huh? Hi, big guy. Yeah, let me make some room for you and you can hang out. Okay. Ooh, that feels good. You stay right there. He's leaning up against my back. And the way it was on fire this morning, it actually feels good right where he is. About 15 pounds of pressure and 100 degrees. Now, since I've done the gear up, I might do something special when I get to doing the sensors. I'll cut some slivers of styrene rod and put them in there as the lenses, because they put extra emphasis on that in the series. That way I can put the clear covers on with clear cement and they won't fog up. Hey, Moody Paul, how you doing? Yeah. I've been on, just not at the prime time for you to catch me, I know. Look at all the swirlies in the plastic. I don't know if you can see that. Is this a project at home, or is it something you're getting paid for? God, those came out really flush. I'm very happy with that. There's just going to be a little sanding just to knock some corners down. Yeah, that's excellent. Okay. Now it is time for both fuselage halves. newest job. Okay. Just making sure there's nothing else I need to put on here before I press on with the next one. Okay. It's got me installing and painting vents before assembly. I'm gonna brush them after. They're accessible. Oh no. Oh, nice. How much they want for it? Nice. Was it the Corgi or was it a kit? I picked this up off of Amazon for like 30 bucks shipped. Which is a fair price for it too. They had the one with the fold booster, but I wasn't about to pay 80 bucks for it. So I need these pieces, A5. Diecast, don't know who sold by Vivid. Okay, gotcha. I want to say it was Corgi. What scale was it? If you can remember. Different scale? Okay. Did Matchbox ever get into the Captain Scarlet scene? Okay, what kind of overhang am I looking at here? Alright, I see now. This keeps moving around back there. I see what we're getting at with this. Let's line you up on the points. I've heard the Konami one's got some shape issues, for lack of a better term, from what a lot of the fans have said. I'm still on the hunt for the old Halcyon or Sakuda Hobby Nostromo kit. Oh, nice. So he's got the actual, like, puppet used. Well, the easiest way to do that is to show her Captain Scarlet. Ah. Fudgesicle. Let's get some more music going. What do we want to hear this time? No, I was lost down a YouTube rabbit hole a couple weeks back, listening to, you know, Future Sound of London, stuff like that. Because there used to be a pirate radio station somewhere in Florida. I'm thinking it was off the coast of Cape Canaveral. Because I ran across a Future Sound of London broadcast that I remember hearing on the radio. I don't know why this got brought up, just something that clicked in my head. But all the same breaks, everything that were in it, I remember hearing back in '99 on the radio in Florida. It was almost always after, I want to say 10 or 11 p.m. they'd come on. And the reception was horrible, but the further north or out to the coast I went, the cleaner and clearer it got. Somebody's dinging me? Who's dinging me? Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm not getting into that rabbit hole either, the Jerry Anderson. Mittens, do you want me to pet you? Is that why you're headbutting my kidney? Okay. They had their charm. I think it's funny how Team America was an homage to that stuff too. For as raunchy as it was all the same techniques. I'm going to glue this piece in last to make sure it's lined up with both halves properly. Get the A4 pieces out. So keep in mind, while I'm trying to do all this, I've got a 15 to 20 pound cat leaning on my back. Oh, you're cleaning. I thought you were licking my shirt. What are you doing? Oh, he's built like a brick. He is not fat at all. Like, he's dense muscle. Isn't that right, Mittens? Yeah. Here he is. Oh, yeah. Microphone's right there. Let's see if we can get Mittens to show up on camera for a minute. Mitty, look in the lower left corner. There he goes. Hey, buddy. Yeah, all of our cats are the big boys. They're not tiny in any way. I see how these are supposed to work now. Alright. What you doing, bud? Hmm? These are just blocking plates. UFO was different. I tried getting into it, but I really couldn't. It was just too... To me, it seemed like it was too all over the place. Probably because I never really caught it from the beginning. You know? Alex on YouTube is talking about the UFO series since we're talking about Jerry Anderson stuff. So those are just blanking plates for these vents here, which I'll essentially be able to brush paint those if I need to. Darn it. I'm trying to get it the other side down. There. So I know somebody over on Macross World, goes by the name, I believe, William Cheng. He does amazing Macross models. But he's also a production designer for film companies. As an example, if you've seen any of the newer Resident Evil movies with like all the VTOL craft and stuff in it, he helped design that stuff. He designed a lot of the original spaceship for the ending of the Thing prequel. I talked to him about that, and he said the creature department was pissed. Especially when they covered up all their hard work with crappy CG. I need to see something here. If these intakes are all one color, I'm going to leave them off. So from what I'm seeing on the model, this part up to that line is a separate part. The exhaust, I'll have to glue the trunking in, but the rest can stay off. Okay, Mittens, I'm moving again, so don't run off. I know you don't like it when I move around. He's not a lap cat, but he'll get in this chair and lay between me and the back of the chair. It's like, it would be easier if he just got in my lap. And I believe that this panel here is going to be a yellow decal. Yes, it is. Not yet. I've still got a couple more hull pieces to put on, paint them to match the base color, and then I can start masking. Kind of going through a lot of Model Builder's ADD right now, trying to find something that catches my attention so I can finish it. Okay, what's going on here? Why are you not sitting down all the way? Oh, it's because I put the landing gear doors in. Forgot to take off the studs where the landing gear attaches. Now, Defiant masking is going to take quite a long time, so I'm working myself up to that. Reliant, though, I did manage to get one of the roll bar pylons run through with wire, which is one of the other technical hurdles I wanted to get past before I really started working on it. So I'll be able to run power up to the roll bar now for the torpedo launchers and lights up there. I managed to navigate that 90-degree bend. Okay, the cat's gotten down. I can sit a bit more comfortably for myself. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people use like rescribing techniques on Gundam and things like that. Which is fine, you would expect a larger robot like that to have that. The thing about Macross is you have to buy it as a robot, visually, and as an airframe, or an aircraft. And you can obviously tell which real-world aircraft this was based on. But to be honest, on Defiant, I'm not wanting to do a lot of masking right now. I'm sure you can understand. Alright. Don't like the fitment back here. I should be able to skim that with a little putty. Or I have a feeling this is causing some of that trouble. It's a tight fit left to right, but I think this tab is not allowing it to tuck in fully. Some seam lines I don't mind, especially on a macross thing, because they transform. But I like it to at least be even and snug. Much better. That's a lot tighter and cleaner. I can live with that one. Intakes can wait. We'll get the exhaust cans on though. can't remember who it was I was talking to. I think it may have been you, Solway. Did you ever get around to watching The Bounty with Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson? I thought I was talking to you about it before. My brain is all over the place today, as if you can't tell. If I remember right, that gap is supposed to be at the top. See how well we're doing here. Okay, that's lining up pretty good. B1. I'd say one of the biggest downfalls of this kit is the tail assemblies just attached with this. That's very weak and fragile. Charlie 3. The actual in-flight display, probably pick a nice discrete point to drill a hole and have just one metal rod going up into it. Okay, A sprue again. So the parts I'm working on now look a lot like CFTs for an F-15, but they house the internal gun pods. Of course you don't want to stay where I put you. There's 8. Now I do have files for the fast packs that this had in the end of the film, in the final episode of the series too. I don't know if I should go through the effort of scaling them and printing them out. Could be kind of cool. For the YF-19, I'm probably going to print out the arm gun that it had. They're made mainly for the Yamato 1/60th scale, but I should be able to shrink them down just a bit. This goes here. There will be some minor sanding. That goes there. Why is this hurting my ears? That hurts too. Something less screechy. That did not seat properly. That's much better. Now we're finding mittens remnants all over the model, which is fine. Have cats, will have fur. Alright, into the garbage with the sprue. Yeah, if I did everything right, I shouldn't have a lot of rescribing to do. mainly just along here. I wonder, should I get Solway Defiant for Christmas? And would he want the big one or the 1/1000 scale one? Nose tickles. Thanks, kitty cats.
Autonomy is an illusion. Autonomy is an illusion. People can't even decide what color to wear or which burger to eat. What does it matter, man? Autonomy is an illusion. Autonomy is an illusion.
Okay. Belly plate going in.
It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity.
So the parts I have that I could print for the fast packs are fucking spammers. Bye-bye. They would all basically glue onto the outside. I'm just trying to decide if I want to try it or not. I'll go through the parts probably later tonight and see. That just dropped in there perfectly, didn't it? I'm glad I went with Gear Up. It's going to be a real slick looking model when it's all together.
It's all about humanity.
It helps that one of my Model Club members is also a huge Macross fan. Now there's a display idea. I'd need to get a VF0 and do that gear up, which I could do that if I get the one with the booster. There's one with like the booster and wing weapons on it. So there's the booster one, and then VF1 that I've already got gear up, the Strike Valkyrie, this, the YF, do like the generational, you know, from the first Valkyries to the latest ones. That would be a kind of neat thing to do. D1. Something to keep in the back of my mind. Because I'll be able to take all these off. All these ones I make separately, I'll be able to take off their mounts and put back on later.
I think the girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. I think the girls with their nails done.
So these are the main wings. These are the tail planes. I'm going to leave these off until after painting anyway, because I've got to get in behind them. I'll get them assembled and everything at least. So, long-term goal, macross flight display. That means I'd have to find some of the Macross 7 kits too.
guys with their nails done now.
The gun pods can stay off. They're going to be getting painted gray. Let's get the wings and the tails assembled.
Nails done.
Wow, this went quicker than I thought it would. We'll get the wings on too. There might be some minor mismatching that needs to be cleaned up there.
Guys with their nails done now.
And this aircraft in the series also played around with something we've just recently started messing with. And that is the flexible control surface, where it's not just flaps and ailerons and stabilizers and stuff like that. You'd have to watch the first taxi test in the series, but it shows the entire wing flexing. So basically, I think it's called an aeroelastic wing. I could be wrong on the term, but I think that's what it is.
Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
Do we have another cat come down? Nope. Yeah, they're all upstairs still. Mittens is the only one that cares enough to check on his old man. Idea for the display stand for this, though. Small round wooden base,
This is the future.
but on the stand have the runway painted and a small building representing the New Edwards Test Flight Center from the series in it.
Evolution. This is the future.
I think I might go with that.
Evolution.
And if you haven't watched Macross Plus, watch it. It's available on the 7 Seas, or the High Seas, whatever you want to call it. Kiss Anime has it still. They're back up and running. If you got a good ad blocker, you should be fine. Okay, get the tailplanes glued together. Spam, 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 spam. They've been on a warpath lately. What the fuck? That's another empty. Solway Studios, thank you for the resub. It is very much appreciated. It is definitely not necessary to sub, but I'm appreciative of those who do.
Evacuation sequence activated.
So I've seen a little more on that Alien Earth series that's supposed to be coming out. Do you guys want me to set up text-to-speech? I can. If it's funnier. That way you can do the too with the voice. Or I can set it up with a different accent so it does the diesel sounds with the R. I'll show you why I'm leaving these off for the time being until after paint. So they're a rather large surface, right? They're only held on by these little tabs down here. I don't even know if I got the right ones on the right side. But yeah. I can see myself knocking those off every 5 seconds. I'll talk to my system administrator about getting the text-to-speech working. But yeah, these wings fit perfectly though. It would be neat to build a YF-23 to go alongside this, since that's what it's so heavily based on. Where the YF-19 is based on the Bell X-29, I want to say. I'm amazed how simply this whole thing went together. I don't remember it being this easy the last time I built it. Like I said, that was back in 2005? Or maybe I was trying to be too perfect back then? I don't know. Because lately I've gotten a a mindset of just fuck it, get it done. I think I was being too perfect back then. So there's 2 underslung gun pods that go here. They get painted gray, so they'll wait. Let's get the nose attached. But, oh, I was talking about that Alien Earth series that's supposed to be on Hulu or FX or something. Apparently it takes place around the same time as... I want to say Covenant or Romulus, sometime in there. Which begs the question, if the company has them on Earth, which there's photos showing them on Earth, why are they fucking around out in space trying to find them? Yeah, this model's going to require next to no putty. I don't even think it's going to need putty. I'm going to put some Mr. Surfacer along these seams here. Sand those down, maybe put some in here to reduce the depth of that gap. And make it look more like a panel line. Q-tip it off. Level out the landing gear door areas a bit. Wow, this went together really well. Let me temp these in place. And next time we see this, it'll be for painting, I think. So there's your basic airframe, though. Let me get the VF-1, just so you can see the size difference between... Because this is a 30-year newer airframe in the series. It's like comparing an F-16 to the F-22. You okay, Mittens? You just came screaming down the stairs. Be right back. So here's the VF-1, same universe, same scale. Ooh, I just got another idea. See, this is how scatterbrained I'm being lately. I forget who it was. I think it was the Polish Air Force had an F-16. They painted the silhouette of a Spitfire on top of it to commemorate their part in the Battle of Britain. Be neat to paint a VF-1 silhouette on top of one of these, like to commemorate the space war in the series kind of thing. Like I said, scatterbrained. Maybe I'll get that one done soon. That's been a year in work. I really need to start finishing one thing before starting another. But it's been 2 hours and 44 minutes. We're probably going to call it quits for today. I have to let other things dry. Might start another stream in a little while. Get into the zone on Stalker. See if I can get zoned in on that. Nope. Again, no pun intended. Actually, I lied. That was intended. We're going to let the glue set on this, let the paint cure on that. Next stream will probably be more painting on the Mark-44. I want to say the Russians probably copied this. Okay, so on the Twitch side, it looks like our administrator has set up text-to-speech. So a sub or probably even a donation or anything else that could use a message like that will work. Good point. Both have been refreshed. Let's pause the music. So who wants to be the first one to try it? Well, there's only 2 people watching on each side, and Ares and Solway are both already subbed. So we'll have to wait for another stream for that to happen. But like I said, we've got quite a bit done this stream. Surprisingly large amount for almost 3 hours. I'm kind of on fire today. But I want to get something to eat. Ares Studios just cheered. No, just the usual alert sound. It might only be for subs then. I don't know how he set it up. We can keep trying. Yeah. But thanks everybody for watching. Thank you for the resub Solway, and thank you for the bit series. And hopefully I will see you all on Thursday. I want to try and get on earlier in the morning so I can get a good solid chunk in before we start the turkey preparations. So see you all then. Thanks for watching and have a good day.